everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us today to talk about how to build a seven-figure business while working a full-time job. We have Marc here with us, and he's going to tell us we're going to have an amazing conversation after I just run through some quick, awesome information for you. If you stay to the end of today's presentation, we're going to have some free bonus gifts for you. We're going to do a hiring process checklist because having an amazing seven-figure team certainly hinges on having the right people. We're also going to share our daily success habits tracker, which is a really great tool for making sure you focus on the right things. This next piece I'm super excited about. We are offering a $150 discount to our leverage event, which is in Scottsdale in January, upon the completion of a free business consult. So not only do you get a laser sharp insight into what's going on in your business by doing a business consult, you also have the opportunity to attend leverage at a discounted price, which I think is a really phenomenal giveaway. I was really excited when we decided to do that. And we'll also give you a free DISC assessment, which ties in amazingly with the hiring process. It's an integral part of how we hire and how we teach our clients to hire. So I'm super excited about all those giveaways. Just stay till the end of today's presentation, and there'll be a link to get everything. And so as I said, we have Marc here. And Marc, tell us where you are and a little bit about your business.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate the introduction. I'm
Absolutely.
here in central Wisconsin, a small town called Stevens Point. And we have a great building in Plover. We were able to purchase a building about a year ago, and I'm in one of our conference rooms.
Nice.
We've been in business about 3.5 years total now, and just started with just me, and now we're up to about 23, 24 people, and we're hopefully going to be at about 50 million in sales by the end of this year.
That's fantastic. You know, I was thinking about, as I was again preparing for this webinar and I talked to Jim Knowlton, who is your coach, and just to other people in general, Bob, what it's like to manage a full-time job while having an amazingly, productive, high-dollar producing real estate team. And it kind of occurred to me in conversation with Jim, actually. He was like, well, don't we all have something like the fire department, which is what your full-time job is? And I was like, well, yeah, actually we do. And so I think this isn't just about, for people who want to do this while they have a full-time job going on, because I think really we all have a full-time job. Like, I'm a mom. That's my full-time job. I coach, I have a real estate team. And so I think this is a really great opportunity for everyone to get a really good look at how someone does an amazing job with time management and process management, because I think that's what you do, Marc, and I think that's how you're able to accomplish what you do. So I'm super excited to dive into this topic.
All right. Thanks, Sarah.
So one of the things that really stood out to me when Marc and I were talking about this webinar last week is, I believe this was your grandfather that said this?
Yep, very close to that. He just said a man's word with a poor reputation is worthless. So what I want to get down to the crux of this, your reputation is so valuable to you that when you're dealing with any of your clients, all of them, every person, how you act and respond in situations, regardless of whether it's in real estate or anything, it's going to impact you in some way, shape, or form. And if you are a person, what my grandfather taught me when he told me this, and my dad reiterated it to me, it taught me to make sure that you're treating people with respect. And if, one instance or one occurrence, you can ruin a reputation. And if your word or what you say to people is worthless, in real estate, you're not going to get clients. Sure, sometimes in each industry or market, I'm sure there's some agents out there that, maybe have a poor reputation or have done a few things that maybe isn't the best or whatever it might be, and they're still in business. But in general, I work very hard with every single client or person, whether I'm in real estate or at the fire department or whatever it might be, to treat them with respect. I certainly can disagree with them, but it's how you do things is very critical, in my opinion, to how you're going to respond in the real estate world. So if you do a great job and have a good reputation, I'll turn it around the other way where it's very, very valuable.
Awesome. And you do this with your team as well, in the way you communicate with your team, don't you?
Absolutely. So there is no limit to that. There's our core values on the door in the conference room I'm sitting right now. When you're dealing with, I think part of the reason that we've grown so quickly is that I really push this with all of the people that I have interaction with. And this is going to fall right directly into the workman success system as well. Verl talks about the value of a client. Okay, well, what I've done to even kind of put that on overdrive is if you do a good job, exceptional job, and have a great basically a rapport with that client, they're going to refer you to 3 people or more. And I can tell you from personal experience that it's a fact. It works. And it's really easy if all you do is focus in and make sure you do what's best for your client. After that, they're going to tell people about you and that you did a great job for them. And everything else is just going to literally fall into place. It takes a little bit of time, obviously, for that to happen. But the value of the client that Verl explained to me, say 4 years ago, I've really taken to heart that concept and made sure that every single person I work with is happy. And then they tell people about me just naturally. And we've had like an organic growth of our firm and our agents, and it works. So I think that that's a major concept that people need to get through. If I sell or have a buyer or seller for that matter, and at the end of it, I know that they're not happy with me or something, that transaction is pretty much useless. Like I would almost rather not get paid from it, because you're missing out on the whole concept of all of your growth and your entire, reputation. You have to do a good job, and that's what I stress with all of our agents in our team. And if you do that, it naturally happens. And we have team agents that have followed this kind of model that are selling 50 and 60 properties a year.
That's fantastic. I think you were telling me a story about a for sale by owner that reached out to you for help to do paperwork or something.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So even sometimes, everybody says, well, I don't want to work for free. I don't want to work for free. And part of my philosophy is, yes, I don't want to work for free, but I also look at it as an ultimate optimist of an opportunity. How can I make this into an opportunity? So I had a for sale by owner talk to me that I knew and said, hey, I got a buyer. Can you help me with the paperwork? And how much would you charge? And of course, we all know that from a legal side in Wisconsin that I'm not allowed to just help with the paperwork. I said, well, we'll have to do a listing agreement and we'll have to do all these things. And I said, it can be, quite cumbersome, but I'd be willing to help you because that's what I do. I help people. Okay. So I help them, charge them a few $100, whatever, got it all done. And since then they've referred me and said, hey, this guy's willing to help. And I think I've gotten at least 3 or 4 other clients out of it. And sure, I didn't get paid on that one, but it started that whole trend of what I'm just explaining, the value of a client.
Right.
I paid a little bit up front to get a client by showing them that, hey, I am truly vested in what's in their best interest. They already had a buyer. They didn't need it listed, whatever, but we got through it. We made it happen in a great, they were very happy, and then they end up referring you to people. And then those people that I did a great job with as well told more people. Again, it's the same philosophy of growing your clientele. Sometimes, in my opinion, you have to give a little bit. In that $500 or whatever I charged them on that was probably some of the best money I ever spent or saved them because, again, it helped grow what I want to do here. It helped me reach kind of my goals.
That's fantastic. And the value of a client is, you almost can't stress it enough in building a team like this and building a team at this level. And I love how that story drives it home about how important it is to recognize the value of a client. Thank you for sharing that with us. So communication in that, communication, valuing your clients and valuing your people. Let's talk about your daily huddles and your communication with your team and how you keep that going, even when you're at the fire department.
One of the things that, to start with, of all of our core values and all the things that I've ever done in real estate and business, no matter what it is, I've taken some courses, and one of the courses that I took said, hey, what do you think is the most valuable trait or characteristic of a leader, and why? And I wrote a nice paper for one of the courses I was in, and I said that I believe communication is the most important characteristic trait of a leader. And I believe that because no matter what you do, in my opinion, if you communicate it well with people, it helps you get through it. It also does count how you do it. However, I just feel that communication is so important, and I work with this through our agents, through our team, through all of our leaders here that that are working. You just have to tell them what's going on. If you give them an expectation and let them know what it is, whether it's a seller, buyer, it helps to smooth things out later. It's just my most important characteristic, Sarah, by far.
So what do you say if an agent, like, for example, if an agent doesn't know the answer, what are they instructed to do on your team?
If they don't know the answer, they're instructed to tell them that they're part of a great team full of resources and that they will ask and they'll get back to them in a timely manner on what the answer is.
That's great, because then the client says, okay, cool, and they know they're going to get their answer.
Absolutely.
It's way better than hiding from it.
Yeah, and I am very responsive to our agents, and I know that sometimes it's difficult, but I really don't have a very good timeline. If someone calls me at 8, 9, 10 o'clock and they're one of the agents on our team, I'll answer the phone if I possibly can, because they're going out of their way, and it's a give and take thing. I can't just lead and not do it by example, and if they need help, they need help. There are a lot of times where I do say, look, this isn't an emergency, we'll talk about it tomorrow or the next day, but really it is a nice thing, and I feel that I do provide a good value by having that open communication with our team agents, that then when they need answers, they can get them in a quick timeline. And I think that helps them do a better job with their clients.
Awesome. Run me through what a daily huddle looks like for your team.
Our daily huddles start every day at 9:45. They're supposed to be a short and sweet 15 minutes where we talk about new listings, new clients, any questions, any concerns, anything that's come up. They're a refresher on daily success habits and anything that they need. We try to make them short and sweet. What ends up happening frequently is we get into larger issues, and sometimes they go a little bit longer, but I think it's good, for people to hear, when they have specific questions, that we'll address them. People do step out, sometimes there's client meetings going on. I ask our agents to come 3 days a week to our huddles and make sure they get the information. And our admin staff also, everybody participates in the huddles. Okay. And if something is missed, then the admin staff can catch someone up on it later.
Okay, cool. Do you ever do it by video so people who can't make it in person attend it, or is it you're there to do the huddle?
For our huddles, we're there for them.
Perfect.
Most of the time, we try to keep them very fun and a little laid back, so I think the video would be hard for us. If we get into like a training thing, I like to jump in and grab the video, zoom it, and save it to our educational library so people can catch up on it later. But we usually don't.
Okay. Perfect. So another thing we talked about that has really been a game changer for you is Agile. And so Agile, I'll just run through real quick, is actually a software development tool that we've at Workman Success have said, hey, this is an amazing tool for real estate agents to manage projects in their business. And so we simplified it so it would be easy to use and more likely to be used. And most of our teams run all of their projects off of Agile. So tell us how Agile has integrated into your business and what you've seen as a result of it.
So going just a little bit of a step back, one other question you had, Sarah, was, how do I work on the huddles or do things while I'm at the fire department? And I think this is all going to be related to this Agile. When I hire people, or I make a strong intent to get people that can, fit what we're trying to do. So for example, if I know that myself personally, I'm not the most organized person or extremely detail oriented, and I don't necessarily need, a plan. I can kind of jump in and just, wing it per se. And this Agile really helps hold my feet to the fire, and it helps me organize my thoughts when I put them on Agile. And then some of our other staff here that are better at staying organized on task. Well, you can see like on some of these notes, they'll say provide start date time on the top one there. Our office manager will go in, see what's on the Agile and say, okay, we need to do this. And then they'll help expand it. Then they might call me and say, I saw you put this on your Agile. Can you explain it to me better? And then they basically are the ones that help follow through with it. So it's an organizational tool for us to follow through with things that need to be done so things don't fall through the cracks. And it helps us prioritize and organize. So if our office manager comes in for the day and says, what do I do? What do I do? They can go on the Agile. I can go in because it's a shared document, change some of the priority and say, hey, I really want our post-closing follow-up program to get done, before we worry about creating my new agent bio. So we can just go in and change that, and then they know what to work on and what to get done. And then that leads into the next part of when we're hiring people. I'm for the DISC profile, I'm not sure if everybody has a strong understanding of that, but that DISC profile is something that we use on everybody. I use it on clients. It's kind of a funny thing. It's just natural for me to say, oh, I think that they're a high I or a high D, but basically my personality type, if you can't tell, I'm very outgoing. I like to talk to people, and I'm very people friendly. That's a little bit different from our office manager, who is extremely detailed. They're very organized, and they want to have a perfect plan in place, where I'm a little more of a wing and fling type of person. So here's the perfect DISC profile. So you can see my I is basically 99, means I'm outgoing. It means I like to talk to people. I like to go to parties. I like to socialize and do all sorts of those things. And our office manager that we hire is like you can see down here where it says client care coordinator, high S, high C, very detailed, helps me hold my feet to the fire. It works perfect. The DISC profiles matched. We did the hire. Everything worked out great. So I think
fantastic.
I think that's really important, for everybody to understand. And that's how, when I'm not at the office runs. So to answer your question specifically, what happens when I'm not here at a huddle? The huddles happen. Our office manager runs them for that day. They still go on. He might shoot me a text and say, we've got this question. It's important. Call me on lunch if you got 5 minutes. If I don't, I don't. Otherwise, we just work on it the next day. Everybody at this point, since most of the people in our organization started from scratch, I didn't hire a lot of people that had experience. They now know to call the hotline, and everybody is well trained at this point with what to do. So I really don't need to be here every day.
Nice. And how many hours a month do you work at the fire department?
I'm regularly scheduled for 56 hours a week. That's 29, 12 hours a year. And what I do is I use a lot of my vacation and comp time off during the prime selling months, so April, May, June, July. And then I work more the other months of the year. So that helps me have time off. I might work, anywhere between 3 and 7 days total during those prime working months. So that's how I do it.
When you say working day, that's a 24-hour shift, correct?
Correct. Yep. So
Okay.
I'm gone for a whole day. And one thing that's really nice about that is, yes, I'm gone today. And if someone calls me, sure, I can't show them a house today or whatever I'm doing, but tomorrow I can. And with technology, with what we've set up here, my phone is forwarded to the office. People answer it. What can I help you with? And they take care of it. They can answer my text messages. They basically can do whatever needs to be done without me being here. That's the awesome part of technology, and the fact that I'm so fortunate to have the people that we have here. They're great people. They're able to handle whatever comes up.
It sounds like you've gotten really systematic about making sure that everything is taken care of too when you're at the fire department.
We're very fortunate to have Jim. He's our systematic guy. He tells me all the time, Mark, you're not an entrepreneur anymore. You need to go to purposeful. You need systems. You need to get these things set. And that's the value of having Jim, my real estate coach with Workman Success. He helps me with this Agile, get organized, get these systems in place. And so I can't really take all the credit for that, Sarah.
You get to. Okay.
I got it. Well, I got to give that to Jim because he's really helped me put this together.
That's fantastic. Jim is a great coach, and I think all of our coaches are great. And I love the way his mind works because he's always at least 5 steps ahead of all of his clients, if not more. So you have a phenomenal coach. So let's talk about time management some, and we have already. I just want to actually dial in on this topic for a few minutes. Because working a 24-hour shift at the fire department plus having a team that's going to do $50 million in a year, you probably have to be pretty on top of your time. So tell me what a typical day looks like for you.
So remember I said I do like to wing and fling a little bit, but a typical day off for me when I'm able to do whatever I need to do, usually in the morning at some point when I do get home, I'm checking emails. I'll do a quick response, get out anything that's needed to get out to any, whatever might need to be done. I love to do that in the morning. And then even when I go into the fire department on a day before I go there, I usually get up early, make sure I've got everything set for the day, send out emails or communication to anybody on the staff, say, hey, this person's going to come in the office today. This is what it is. Don't forget about that. I love to do that stuff early in the morning. So my typical day when I'm off, I do everything I can as early as I can. Then I spend some time with the kids. I make them breakfast, take them to school, and then I make my way to the office. And at that point, I get in, get everything done I need to get done. We run our daily huddle. And then I kind of lock myself in with my assistant, and we go through everything that needs to get done. And I like to really get things done quickly, whatever's in front of me. If the office staff will say, hey, we need to get this done, I like to call right now, get it done, and stay on track. It doesn't help to postpone things forever. I have a nice running to-do list I keep in my notes similar to Agile. It's just for me to remember certain things that I just need to do. I pull that up regularly. Need to do this. And I work pretty steady. I'm not good at taking long lunch breaks or anything. And obviously everyone knows how much we get interrupted in this business with phone calls and everything else. But I work steady until about 3:15, 3:30. Then I pick the kids up from school. And then the evening, if I have anything else I have to take care of, I do. Otherwise, I work with hockey and the kids and spend time with the wife.
Nice. That's awesome. While you're at, how much time do you block for, say, like money-making activities, prospecting, recruiting? What does your calendar look like in regards to that?
What I like to do with the prospecting, one of the things that just kind of naturally happened, again, with the value of the client, my prospecting time actually went down a lot because I really focused in on doing a great job with my clients. And then I naturally was receiving lots and lots and lots of referrals, so I didn't have to do as much prospecting as I did before. However,
Right.
my advice to anybody listening, my by far main prospecting activity that I do is my top 50. I call my people, I text them, I email them. I love my top 50 and I absolutely enjoy it. I mean, it's something that it has not worked to me. If somebody called me right now and said, hey, I need you to stop everything you're doing and I need you to do your top 50, I'm like, awesome. You don't even have to beg me. I love it. And I
That's
make
awesome.
it super fun. I have these funny little one-liners I love to tell people. And most of the time when I deal with my top 50, I don't even talk a lot about real estate or the office. Of course, you know, it comes up frequently, but I just love to say stuff to people such as, hey, it's Mark, your favorite realtor. How you doing today? And that's it. I might not even say one other thing about real estate the whole time. And they all laugh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, yeah, realtor, funny, funny. But it works. I just do these simple things. You know, when we do our calling nights in our office and I'm here and I make my calls for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, my phone's buzzing. Hey, I got somebody that's looking. Hey, I got somebody, you know, give this person a call. These people want to sell. This stuff works. It is tried and true. I'm telling you, the top 50, looking at the My Perfect Week thing, that is something that I do not hold back or say, oh, that can wait. I always roll with my top 50.
Awesome. Perfect. So when we spoke the other day, you talked about what an impact attending our leverage event this year, 2018, had on your business here in Sarasota, Florida. So let's talk about that for a few minutes. Your whole team went, right?
A few people didn't, but a lot of them did. And
Okay.
remember, our team last year to this year, it's a lot different. So we have 9 people going this year with our team.
Nice. How
And
many
we had
people did you have last year?
5. We had 5.
Okay.
Yep. What
What
leverage
were,
does, a couple things on leverage. So when we take a group of people to an event like this, what it does is it really, it's the information that I tell everyone in the office and, hey, we need to do this and here's workbench and here's daily success habits, here's Agile, whatever it is. When we hire somebody, we're going to work them through this DISC profile. I was coming back to the office for, hey guys, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. And after I took them to leverage, everybody just kind of looked at me and said, I know what we need to do. And it made it so much easier for me instead of, you know, encouraging and explaining. Everybody was there to receive the information firsthand. It was a lot different. When I would come to the office and say, hey, we're going to do something different. We're going to do huddles, guys. Here's what we're going to do, these huddles. And they're like, what's a huddle? I said, oh, it's just a good thing to get together. We're going to do these things. And when everybody went to leverage last year, and they'd say, hey, now I see what huddles are. We got to watch, you know, Christy Buck's team and this team and Lee Tester, all these people, we got to see them. It just was the turning point for me to where, hey guys, we need to do these things. And we started working on them more together versus, you know, where I was always constantly trying to, you know, pull. Now it's much more of a group effort to move forward with getting things done.
That's fantastic. And you made some connections there too, didn't you, at the event?
Absolutely. The leverage event last year was great. So we met up with Mike Koch and his team, and he's just an hour and a half away from us. We stay in touch. I've talked to Mike and his team. We send referrals back and forth. The leverage event for us to find another team of all of the things, you know, we try everything. We're out on different groups and organizations. The Workman Success is the only place that we've actually found other teams similar to us that are willing to talk and share experiences and kind of help us out. We still talk with some of the people that were, you know, at leverage, you know, that normally you would think, well, people like that wouldn't talk to us. You know, people, we think, oh, you know, you guys are listening, Marc Katowski and his 50 million. I mean, that's nothing. There's people at this that are doing 100 million, 150 million, and way, way, way bigger. And we still keep in touch with those people. Hey, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that?
And they do.
And they do, and they're responsive, and they don't have to do any of this, and they just do it out of the kindness of their heart. And it's just an amazing atmosphere to see and learn and get to know all these people. And again, I'm excited for this year to get and grow on the other connections that we've made and make new ones.
Nice. And at Leverage last year, and I know this isn't one of the topics this year, at least not at the depth it was last year, but let's circle back to DISC real quick, because at Leverage last year, one of the speakers spent a lot of time teaching us about DISC. Tell me how that changed everything in your business.
The DISC profile is key. Every single client that you deal with, you should be mentally analyzing them, in my opinion, after learning this from Leverage. What are they? What is their profile? Who are they? If I'm working with a buyer and I show them 5 houses and they're a high D, and I come back to the office and I say, hey, let's talk about statistics and let's look at comps and let's get into all these intricate details of things, that client's probably not going to be real happy with me, okay? They're a high D. They want to make a decision. They want to move on it. If I look at them and say, I could tell these were your 2 favorite ones, which one do you want to go with? And they say, I want to go with Main Street, and I'll say, I'll get the paperwork going, hold tight, and you start moving forward. If you push a C buyer and say, which one do you want to go with, they're going to start, quivering and saying, well, I didn't even know what school district is that in, and how many square feet, what's my price per square foot, and, I need to think about this for a few days. And, you start throwing one-liners at them like, hey, you want to sleep on it, somebody else is going to be sleeping in it. They're not going to be real happy with you.
Yeah.
You have to adapt for who they are and what they need. Some clients are going to need to look at more houses. Some clients aren't. You have to be able to read that. This DISC profile, when you talk with people, you can just naturally say, oh, you can tell they're a high D. You can tell, should I shoot the breeze with these people? Should I talk to them about the weather? Should I ask them about their kids? Or should I get right down to business? Should I encourage them to attend some function out in, or are they more introverted and they don't want to do that?
Right.
You have to relate to people. And I think one of the things that we're good at here is, after we learned a lot about these DISC profiles, it's funny, I'll ask our team agents, I'll say, hey, I'm working on this person and I'm not quite sure what to do. I've shown them 30 houses and this and this and this. And I'll say, what's their DISC profile? Are they a high C? What do you know? What can you tell me about them? It's another tool in the toolbox that we use, and I use it regularly in dealing with people. I'll look at our office manager and say, yeah, this one was pretty easy. They were a high D. I found exactly what they wanted, and I was able to get this one done in a couple of days. And if I walk into a house with a showing and I know I've got a super high I, and I just go, oh my gosh, this is the perfect house for you, and I'm very, excited for them, they're going to go, oh my gosh, this is it. Let's go. But if I do that to somebody that's, more introverted and laid back, again, they're not going to like me as much. They're not going to, tell their friends about me. They're not going to be able to have that value of a client that I'm stressing to everybody here today. So you have to be able to adapt your personality and your leadership style to whoever you're dealing with. And I'm not saying you change who you are. It's just, remember how important I've been telling you. It's how you do things. It's not what you do. It's how you do it. And I just feel that that's such an important thing that everybody needs to consider when they're out there working with people. Remember, as Jim says, we're in the people business.
There is Tony Alessandro is a phenomenal master of DISC, and he has what we call the platinum rule. And I'm guessing you can tell everyone what that is. If you can't, I will. It's okay. Yeah, it's treat others the way they want to be treated, as opposed to the golden rule, which says treat others the way you want to be treated. So the platinum rule ties into DISC and being able to recognize what people are, and it's treat other people the way they want to be treated. And so if you can recognize who they are and acknowledge that and have flexibility within yourself, you're going to come out ahead in that conversation and make it a really win-win for everyone.
And I do the same thing with our team agents. I don't treat them exactly the same in how I do things. They're treated the same when it comes down to the rules and the concepts that we do, but how I introduce them or how I discuss them changes with each person that I work with. And I think that that's really been a key to our success. We have happy agents, we have happy people, and it really helps to create a great culture in your office.
And do you think that's a large part, using DISC and also the hiring process? Would you say that's a large part of how you have managed to build such a large team? And I'm guessing there's still conflict because you guys are humans, as far as I know. But I'm guessing that it's probably a really strong culture you have happening in your office and in your business right now. Let's talk about how DISC and the hiring process has created that for you.
Again, it's the same concept I just said. The DISC, it not only helps me, but we always talk about it. So in our huddles or our team meetings, we'll say, oh yeah, they're a high C and they have to know all their details. So everybody chuckles about it, and it's good that everybody knows how each other are, and that helps everybody grow together and have some fun with it.
Nice.
I don't feel like we've had a lot of conflict. I think that it's been pretty minor overall. Maybe I'm speaking too soon, but when I'm working with our team and our agents, and whenever I'll call it conflict arises, I guess I look at it as an opportunity for change. And I also very fair with people. And if we have a situation where somebody had a lead and somebody had a client and it got mixed up and two people got a lead or whatever it is, the fact that, this is our brokerage together as a team, we can do whatever we want. And, I'm not saying I just give money away like candy, but there are opportunities or times where I've said, hey, the brokerage is going to take a less cut because I can see how this wasn't fair for you guys, and we're going to move forward. Now the culture has changed to where people pretty much sit down and say, yeah, that's okay. I understand you each had, I see how it got screwed up. I don't want the lead. I'm busy enough. Are you okay taking it? And it's almost turned to where everybody's like, yeah, I just want to help you out. What do you need? That philosophy that I've really stressed with everyone. We have new agents that come on in our team, and instead of it saying, oh boy, I have to have another newbie and how do I do this? I don't even realize it. And they said, oh yeah, so-and-so reached out to me. I'm going on 3 showings tonight. I'm going to learn all this stuff. And everybody's just kind of taking them in and rolling with it. And this is hiring the right people. And this is following your DISC profile, getting to know each other, making sure that, we have a high I buyer agent. They're outgoing. They want to help. They communicate with the new person and they take care of it. I would never ask, or probably hire a buyer agent. That's a super low I, but you have to keep those things in mind. And I think it all just goes back, Sarah, what I just talked about before is you really need to DISC. If you don't DISC people, I think you're missing the boat. I really do.
When was the first time you really examined your DISC? Was it at that event, or were you already kind of a student of it at that point?
Oh, I didn't realize the power of the DISC. I think that I read it when I did it prior to the leverage, but the presentation and the understanding of it, and also the motivators, which is another aspect of the DISC, that really helped. And I will admit to everybody on this call, so my DISC profile, talking about me, obviously I'm a 98 I, maybe a 60, 70 D, so I do like to make decisions. And that's basically what I am. My S and C are fairly low in the 20s. I can choose to be more detailed, but I don't. The next important part is your motivators. And I learned my motivators are classic workaholic. Okay, so I like to work. So there's no doubt I do like to work. It's fun for me. I don't know. It maybe isn't the best for everybody, but those motivators really help you understand people on top of just the DISC, especially when working with your agents. How do they want to be treated? Again, what programs do you run? What incentives do you run? How do you work with them? I think that's really important to look at those motivators. We went through every single one of those motivators when we were at Leverage in detail. It was very enlightening. to understand that. Now we do look at those motivators as well when we're hiring and talking with people to see,
Okay.
how do they want to stand out, and how much are they driven for an economic, you can see aesthetics, economic, how much they want to be an individual, how much are they concerned about others, all those sorts of things. And they do help really understand the person. And again, it's a relationship business, it's a people business. And I love building relationships with new or the same people. And it's just, you have to know your audience. It's just so critical to know your audience. Just like Sara said, treat others how they want to be treated. You can get away with certain things per se, or say different things to one client that you'd probably never say to a different one. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's absolutely true. My recommendation would be for the people attending the webinar today, if you don't recall, you do get a free disc assessment for attending the webinar. I would do it on yourself, unless you already have one on yourself and you have an understanding of it, because that was how I really, obviously attending classes on it, getting certified in it has been integral. But when I was first starting to understand DISC, by looking at my DISC assessment and reading it and really starting to understand how I showed up, was how I gained a really deeper level understanding, because I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's why I do that. And so that would be my suggestion, is to take the DISC and use it for yourself to see where you are with your free DISC. Let's talk about tracking your numbers. And I actually don't have a slide on this either, but it was something I added today. I also want to talk about your recruiting. So actually, let's talk about that first. Let's talk about recruiting and where you've had successes with this, and what do you still struggle with to keep it front of mind for you and be consistent? Like, do you have a strong queue of talent waiting to come on, or what's going on with that for you?
Okay, so recruiting, it's an interesting kind of, you have to make a decision, I guess, as the team leader to start with, is what your focus should be, or what you want it to be. There's lots and lots of opinions out there. And I'm not saying that I did it right or wrong. I will just tell you that what my opinion is and how I did it, and what I do, and what's been successful for me. So maybe this can be successful for others. I did not want to be known as basically the new broker in town that went to everybody else's, every other broker, and tried to get all of their agents. So I decided early on, you know what, I'm going to hire my own people. Maybe they're not in real estate. If someone comes to me and wants to work with me, that's fine. But I am not going to directly recruit from other brokers. Okay. Now, this was not advised to me by other people. Just different experienced brokers I spoke with said recruit from other brokers. It's a great way to do it. And I just decided that it wasn't part of who I was. So I went out and I talked to people, said, hey, this is what we're doing. And I was very fortunate that I had a few people come on board. And with doing a really, really good job with your clients, they tell everybody about it. And if there's anyone interested in going into real estate, I feel like all of the new people that have come on with us, we've pretty much had the cream of the crop here. And there's lots of things that I guess there's details of things I've done to create that sort of mentality. I feel like we are like the in brokerage to go with right now. Everybody's talking about us. I take a very high quality pictures of all of our listings. So when people saw our listings out there, they're like, man, who are these guys? Look at these pictures. Look at these listings. These are great. I maybe only had 5 listings, but I made sure that the 5 listings I had, they all looked like they were $1 million. They were all, tidied up, and the pictures were professionally done and top notch. And, pretty soon the word got out of how nice things were looking and what a great job we were doing. And then people started calling me. I didn't even know who they were, and they'd say, hey, are you looking for people? And I'd say, yeah, I am. Oh, so-and-so is interested. I'm going to have them call you. Okay, they'd call me. And then, in the beginning, I didn't do as great of a job disking and the hiring process. It's definitely tweaked at this point, but we use the disc now, and we hire the right people. But that's how again, the value of the client is basically, I'm telling everybody, that's what it falls back to. If you do a great job with your clients, whether people are looking to get into real estate or whatever it is, they're going to come back to you. Word's going to get out, and people that are in business in real estate are going to call you. We have lots of agents with other brokers that just come to us. We don't take a lot of them on, just because, there's a certain size limit that we can grow to as quickly as we can. But I also did recruit, people that I thought would be good. Lots of people have jobs that are good, so you have to work hard at it. You got to keep on track. You have to, do the same thing you would with a client, with a follow-up process, and keep in touch, and it works. So you're prospecting for other agents just as much as you are for buyers and sellers of real estate, and you really want to hire the right people, which is, again, why that disc is so important. So the lead tracker that you have up here, Sarah, why that is important is if you have someone and you're always recruiting talent, if there's talent out there, it's really hard to say no to that. As an owner broker, I like working with people that want to work. I like working with people that are motivated and they're excited about it. And I'm equally as excited, so that makes it even more fun. You want to be able to track those people. You don't want to miss out on them. There's nothing worse than saying, oh, these people went to work at Remax or Coldwell, and geez, I thought they were really good and I missed out on them. Sometimes I've interviewed people and it didn't work out, and I'm, maybe not as disappointed. But overall, you have to keep track of your leads, your numbers. That's one thing Jim taught me, my coach. He helped me get a great accounting system, doing a great job to not let people fall through the cracks. So the lead trackers are really important. All of our agents are lead tracking. You can get your numbers, see where things are coming from, what lead sources are working for you, what lead sources are not working for you. I think that any broker or any agents or team, you need to have a certain amount of exposure out there on the internet. As far as marketing goes, we don't do any newspaper marketing at all. I'm looking at your lead sources here. You have Zillow and Facebook and landline, floor calls. I think that, my top 50 is clearly my big,
right,
spot where I get the leads from. But you got to keep, getting the leads only one part of it. You got to follow through and make sure that you're keeping track of them. Otherwise you lose them. And yeah, I'd be lying to everybody here to say, oh, I've never lost the lead. Yeah, I've lost the lead and it hurts. You show houses to somebody or you do a listing appointment, and then pretty soon you're like, boy, I didn't follow up with them as I should have, which is why day one real estate, an assistant.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how often do you look at your numbers? And, we talk about tracking your leads. How often do you look at how much you have pending, how much you have closed?
I realistically, we have a board in our office, and I look at it quite frequently. I really take the time to process the numbers every 2 weeks, and then once a month I do a full kind of internal audit of all of our spending and income and make sure that everything lines up. So those are the ways I look at the numbers.
Okay.
So every 2 weeks.
That way you can
Yep.
stay ahead of anything you see coming.
Yep, absolutely. We've had months come up where, I knew it was coming, but they can be scary, and it's directly related to daily success habits. If you can have 30 agents, but if, they're only doing 10% of the work, you'd be better off having 3 that are doing 100% of it. I can tell you that from experience. So
for sure,
the daily success habits, it's a direct correlation to, what you're going to close as a team.
Nice. We do have time for a few questions too. Is there anything you want to add before you hop into that? We have about 10 minutes left.
I would just add one other thing, since we're talking about numbers and kind of, profits and brokerage monies and stuff like that. I always try to use every situation I'm in as a benefit or to an advantage for everybody. Part of the reason why we've grown so quickly here too is I don't focus so much on, boy, I can take home an extra $5,000 today or whatever. because I do have that other income, I'm able to use that money to help grow and help support and get things where they need to be. Now, Jim has helped me, kind of mold that a little bit into profits. But we have an office building today, because, I was able to basically forego some of the commissions that I was making. We purchased an office building. We have an awesome LED sign out front and some sorts of those things. And I just think that it's really important for people to know that, again, you have to put your client's interest as number one. And I feel that one of the reasons why I'm such maybe I'll call it a dangerous agent or broker out there to the other agents is I will do whatever is in the best interest of my client, no matter what, even if it means killing a transaction. If they say, hey, I need to get out of this transaction, or this isn't the right house for me, I can see those things easier. When I have closings and stuff, I don't even think about the money. I look at it every 2 weeks. It's like, yep, okay, we have this many closings. Yes, once a month I look at our numbers and make sure we're not going broke. And Jim goes through them and says, hey, we're doing great. And everything is going very smooth. But I feel that the ability for me to look at these transactions in an unbiased manner, in an unstressful manner, both fiscally and emotionally, helps me be an agent that puts me above and beyond compared to a lot of the other agents. So I think that that's an advantage, to having another income to where I don't have to worry about it. And I'm not saying that it's the best case scenario, but again, it's the situation I'm in and I use it to my advantage. I go into the hospital, I talk to every ER doc, hey, how you doing? I get listings out of it. I get, clients, referrals, whatever it is, the police, all these people that I'm interacting with, it's just another way of lead generating, is my opinion.
For sure.
Our agents, all the sheriff's department and the police department, we're it. We're doing lots of transactions with that. So I just want to let everybody know I use it to my advantage. Whatever situation you're in, it's half full or half empty. And I'm always trying to be, it's half full and let's make the best of it.
That's fantastic. I love how you point out too, how you're able to, because you have the two incomes, and so you do have the full-time job on top of the real estate team, you're able to live well within your means and reinvest back into the team and actually create wealth for yourself. And that's a really key point that I think people often miss, is you really have a great opportunity to create wealth if you are doing this with a full-time job.
Yep.
It's just systems and processes. So we had a question from Andriana in Cape Coral, and she wanted to know, when you created your team, were your employees hourly or salary when you first started hiring admin and what have you?
Admin were hourly, no benefits. It was just a hourly wage, and the team members were just hired on as agents with the commission split. So when they sold the property, I will say that I've done some things that maybe aren't exactly perfectly business oriented, but I have helped people in our office that have had jobs that said, look, my goal, Mark, is to transition. How do I transition? And I kind of laugh when people say that. I'm like, well, I'm still transitioning and it's been 5 years. But when people, come to me, I'm always trying to help them accomplish their goals. So if someone says I need to transition, I'll be like, okay, how much do you spend a month? What are you making where you're at, and how quickly can you transition? And I'll help them with that transition. I'll give them a loan. I'll say, okay, I believe in you. I've hired you. I have the ultimate faith in the people that, we're going to work together. Maybe I'm a crazy optimist, but I've given people money to help them transition, and it works. We got motivation, and people are getting down to business.
That's fantastic. That's a great opportunity for everyone. Kristen from Kelowna, BC, would like to know, if you're working on your own with no team behind you, how do you work a full-time job and still do real estate? And I would circle back to day one, you hire a real estate assistant. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. It's really hard if you understand the real estate business, that it's an up and down thing. I can spend 30 hours a week lead generating, because we all know there's really 2 jobs for every real estate. It's lead generating, and the other one's buying and selling real estate. So if I spend 30 hours this week lead generating, the next 2 weeks I'm not going to be able to lead generate, because I'm going to be doing, so much of the buying and selling side of the business that I'm not going to have time to lead generate. And then you get these roller coaster rides where you have 10 accepted offers at once, and then you have no time to lead generate, and then the next month you have 1. So that's
Right.
why you hire an assistant day one. They help flatten out the curves and keep things rolling, so that I don't have to worry about, is the loan commitment in, and is this done, and is the inspection scheduled, and this and that. I love the way we have it set up with our admin staff. I do money making activities. I lead and trade the agents. I am searching for talent. And I basically, now how I run is I really don't work with buyers any longer. I have so many listings that I just don't need to work with buyers anymore. Once in a while I get a friend or whatever it is, but I have so many listings that's all I can handle. And
Right.
You have to be able to know what your limits are.
Right. And so an answer to add to that too is you have an assistant from day one, and as soon as you have more leads than you can handle, you look at having a buyer's agent or a showing assistant. And so that would be the way I would handle that, Kristen. Diane from Indiana wants to know if you have your agents on a tiered commission split.
I don't. I'm very nice though. We're 50-50 all the way around. So that's just how it works. It's easiest that way. They get the full staff. They get me. I've had, the agents tell me all the time, they're like, we're never leaving. It's maybe not the perfect recommended tiered split agreement, but it works for us, and I'm very happy and they're very happy. And I guess that's the answer to your question.
Awesome. Marc, thank you very much for joining me today and doing this webinar. I just want to remind all the participants, the URL is and has been on the screen for a few minutes to get your free bonus gifts. Again, you'll get our hiring process checklist, your daily success habits tracker, a $150 discount on a leverage ticket once you complete a business consult. The business consult is free, and so you'll also get that, and that's like shining a laser beam into your business to see where all your opportunities for growth and improvement are, and a free DISC assessment, which I highly recommend. If you don't have one on yourself, use that DISC to DISC yourself, because it's really insightful to learn about yourself in that way and those behavior patterns. So if there's no other questions, and I don't see any pop up, we will go ahead and wrap up. Again, Marc, thank you so much for your time. It's been a phenomenal conversation and webinar with you, and I really appreciate you joining today.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Everyone have a great day. Take care.